Looking for a laptop to practice data analytics on? I got you. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to find a good laptop that you can practice data analytics on and help you land your first data job. If you're working to become a data analyst, you can choose whether to spend money on courses, on boot camps, and even college, but the one thing you do need is a computer to practice on. And if you're not a computer nerd, finding a computer that has the right amount of storage, the right amount of RAM, the right processor, and won't cost an arm and a leg is very overwhelming. To help you out, I did all of the research. First, I'm going to go over all of the specs you should look for in a laptop, including processor, RAM, storage, and screen size. Then I'll tell you about my computer, which meets all of the minimum requirements and also wasn't that expensive. Last, I found a few laptops on Amazon that meet all of the requirements in this video but won't break the bank. So let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about minimum requirements. First, you're going to want a laptop that has 256 gigabytes of SSD memory. Second, you're going to want a computer that has at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. Third, you're going to want a computer that has a processor that is at least an Intel i5 processor or an AMD Ryzen 5 processor. And then last is screen size, and this is mostly up to whatever works best for you, so we'll get into that a little bit later. If you're really strapped for cash and every dollar counts, those requirements that I gave you will definitely be enough to get you started in data analytics. But if you have a little bit more budget, I definitely recommend getting at least 512 gigabytes of SSD memory, 16 gigs of RAM, and then if you can get a nicer processor like an i7 or a Ryzen 7, that will help you out even more and that will make your computer perform even better. Now that you know the minimum requirements you should look for and my recommended requirements you should look for to buy a laptop, let me tell you about my laptop I got 3 years ago to help me practice data analytics. This is my computer right here. As you can see, it has a Word document where I have outlined this video. This laptop is a Lenovo IdeaPad 3. It has 512 gigs of SD storage. It has only 8 gigs of RAM, and then it has an Intel i5 processor. For me, the amount of storage is perfect. I'm not anywhere near my limit of storage with the 512 gigs. And the computer performs well. I have used the free version of Tableau, the free version of Power BI, MySQL, and Jupyter Notebooks on this computer, each with no issues. While we're at it, let's talk about screen size as well as touch screens. My computer here has a 15.6-inch screen. I really like that size of a screen because it's not too big or too small. A bigger screen will help you see smaller things better, like when I'm working in Power BI, it can be a little bit harder to see on a smaller screen, but a smaller laptop's going to make it more portable, you're going to be able to use it on a plane easier and things like that. So all of that just comes down to your preference, whether you want a bigger screen or a smaller screen. I have worked with laptops that have smaller screens and those could be fine. I've also had a laptop before that had a bigger screen and honestly, it just kind of felt ridiculous when I would pull that laptop out because it was just gigantic. And as far as the touch screen, this computer does have one, but I honestly don't use it because I don't want to get my screen dirty. So really, all the touchscreen does is get in the way, so I honestly wish the laptop didn't even have one. Now that we've talked about the specifications you should look for in a laptop, I've found 6 options on Amazon that are all affordable. They all meet the requirements that I talked about in this video, so I'm going to share my screen and show them to you now. This first computer is a 2022 Lenovo IdeaPad 3i. This is very similar to my computer. It has an i5 processor, it has 8 gigs of RAM, and it has 256 gigabytes of storage. And it also has a 14-inch screen, so depending on what kind of screen size you're looking for, this can be great. As you can see, the price is just $373, so this is definitely a great affordable option. Next is this Lenovo IdeaPad 1 laptop. This one's maybe even a little bit more similar to my laptop. It has a 15.6-inch screen. It has that Intel i5 processor. It actually has double the RAM that I have at 16 gigabytes. And then it also has 512 gigabytes of SSD storage. And this one comes in at $500. I honestly think when I bought my computer, it was like $550. So again, I think this is a really good deal, and I think this computer would last you a while. So if you're looking to invest in a computer, I definitely think you're getting a bargain for what all this computer comes with. Laptop number 3, since I've only shown you Lenovo so far, I wanted to give you another brand to look at. I've also had a Dell before and I really liked it, and I'm not talking about the Rolling in the Deep Singer. This one again has a 15.6-inch touchscreen. It has an i5 processor. It has 16 gigs of RAM, and it has 512 gigabytes of SSD storage. This one comes in at $452, so even cheaper than the last computer. So if you're a big Dell fan, this one can be a great choice. Number 4, if you want to go in on something nicer and really invest in a nice computer, this is a Lenovo ThinkBook 15. It has a 15.6-inch display. It has an i7 processor, so nicer than the others. 40 gigabytes of RAM, which is a lot of RAM, and it has 1 terabyte of storage. So if you really want to invest and you want to get a bit nicer of a computer, maybe you want a computer that'll perform better, maybe you want to get into data science where the requirements are a little bit more on your computer, this is a great Lenovo to look at. Similarly, if you want a nicer Dell computer, I also brought one of these up. It has pretty much the same specifications as the last one, except a little bit less RAM, but still 32 gigs, you're doing a lot. It's got a 15.6-inch display, it's got an i7 processor, it's got a terabyte of SSD memory, and this one's coming in at $639.99. Very specific. And then last, I pulled up a MacBook. Let me be 100% honest. I have no experience using MacBooks, but I know there are a lot of Apple fans out there, so I wanted to pull something up. But since I don't know that much what I'm talking about, feel free to take this with a grain of salt and do your own research. But this MacBook fits all of the requirements we talked about in the video. It has an i7 processor, which is very good, a 16 gigs of RAM, which is great, 512 gigabytes of SSD storage, and then it has a 15.4-inch MacBook display. If you want to check out any of the laptops that I just showed you, I have them linked down in the description. You don't have to go search all through Amazon to find them. They're right down there for your convenience. But anyway, I hope this video helped. I'm not the biggest computer nerd in the world, so please do your own research about this. Don't just take my word for it. I did do my own research. I read a few articles. I looked up specifically for different data programs, how much of storage and RAM and processor you should look for. I asked some friends that are smarter than me, but with all of that being said, do your own research. Don't just go by one person's opinion, but I really think all of those laptops I've shown you would be a great option if you're looking for a data analytics laptop. And if you have any interest in becoming a data analyst, I drop a new video on this channel every single week, so you can always find something new to learn on this channel. And with that being said, I'll see you next week.